Hello, my name is Michelle Match Perez, and the name of my project is Examining the Effect of Past and Present Socioeconomic Status on Time Preferences Across Monetary, Health, and Social Rewards. I have been working alongside Dr. Cable and Christian Benitez throughout the process. So first and foremost, poverty is a global issue characterized by insufficient income, exposure to crime, limited access to healthcare, and a plethora of other things. In the United States, the poverty rate has remained between 11% and 15% for decades. And the challenges associated with poverty can produce negative consequences to one's physical, physiological, and neurological well-being. Ultimately, the phenomenon that we see is that individuals who are from low socioeconomic backgrounds actually have a preference for immediate rewards, even if these rewards are smaller than if they were to wait and gain larger rewards in the future. So many theories have emerged to try and explain why this is. Some of the theories include the life history theory, which suggests that individuals in harsh and unpredictable environments tend to adopt what is known as a fast strategy. So they're more impulsive in order to try and maximize their current resources, ultimately, and as the goal is to promote reproduction and survival. So that's life history theory. There's also what is known as sensitization theory, which is an extension of the previous theory. And the idea of sensitization theory is that humans will show this preference for immediacy when they are reminded of their mortality. So when they are faced with threats, people who are from unstable environments will feel more inclined to pursue the fast strategy if they are reminded of any threat. And then lastly, another big theory that has inspired this project is called the uncertainty management theory. This one was developed by Dorsa Amir in a paper published in 2018. And this theory suggests that early life stress predicts future risk. So virtually people who have grown up in uncertainty are more likely to shape their preferences to try to avoid that uncertainty and prevent it if possible. So people from these low socioeconomic backgrounds are more likely to just avoid the uncertainty and gain the reward in the present. So ultimately, these theories have tried to explain this phenomenon, but they only, for the most part, investigate what this phenomenon looks like in the monetary domain. So studying how people would prefer less money in the present and more money in the future. However, we're curious in understanding whether this effect goes beyond the monetary domain, if it can extend to other aspects of life, in particular health and social rewards. So we have two hypotheses. Our first hypothesis is that current socioeconomic status and discount rate will be negatively correlated for all three domains, monetary, social, and health. This extends from the finding that we're currently seeing. But our second hypothesis is that the effect of current socioeconomic status on temporal discounting differs across domain. So even if there is an effect, it's going to look different for each domain. So the way that we will be studying this research question is by conducting a survey on Qualtrics. So ultimately, we will be examining about 1,000 participants, that's our sample size, and they will be asked to complete 3 temporal decision-making tasks: monetary, social, and health. For each task, they will be asked 54 questions, and the tasks are randomized for each participant. So as you can see on the bottom left, there are examples of what the questions will look like. So they will be asked for a certain amount in the present and then a larger amount in the future. And ultimately, once they have completed these decision-making tasks, they will be asked a series of self-report questionnaires so we can have a better idea of their socioeconomic status, their education, their health, and I will explain some of the variables that we'll be looking at. So first and foremost, the way that we will be defining current socioeconomic status is using a method from the Hollingshead scale. So we will be looking at both education and occupation, current, And then for their parental socioeconomic status, we will be looking at their parental education and parental occupation, and everyone will receive a score. And financial strain will ask participants how they view themselves relative to the rest of the United States, perhaps the rest of their community, both when they were growing up and then also in the present. And ultimately, we will be using this choice task analysis to understand what the discount factor looks like for each participant. So in order to test our first hypothesis, we will be using an ANCOVA with current socioeconomic status as a continuous covariate and reward domain as a categorical factor, examining the effect of the current socioeconomic status covariate. And then for the second hypothesis, if we find that there is some sort of effect, we'll be using an ANCOVA with current socioeconomic status as a continuous covariate and reward domain as a categorical factor, examining the interaction between current SES and domain specifically. And so below, you can see some of our predicted models. So like I mentioned before, we see that there is a phenomenon in the monetary domain where current SES and discount rate are negatively correlated. So we predict that there will also be a negative correlation across all of the domains. We're still not sure what that effect looks like if this is true, but based on prior literature, this is what we are anticipating, and we are hoping to have the data all analyzed in the next week. And ultimately, why this is important, we believe that in order to better tailor policymaking decisions and welfare interventions, it's really important to understand the psychology of poverty and how it can affect decision-making, and ultimately try to have people understand what their biases look like in order to help close the wealth gap as much as we possibly can. So thank you so much. And yeah, this is my project.